Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we're broadcasting live and proudly from the Hesselson studio this morning on the 3-year anniversary of Frankly Speaking on Big Fox. Thank you for joining us. I already received some comments. We're going to get to those in just a second. Changing the rules. Oh, yeah, by the way, we've got to celebrate here. Boom, there's the confetti. 3 years on the air. And we're changing up the rules. If you write in congratulations, it's counting as a wave. So just so you know. Okay, let's get right to it. Viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. Happy 3rd anniversary from Wyoming. Have a great day. Well, thank you so much. A big Wyoming wave. We always appreciate that. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Congratulations on your 3rd anniversary and have a wonderful weekend. Well, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. So many people remembering. And it's on Friday the 13th, whatever that means. Comment from another viewer. Happy 3-year anniversary, says Jack. Well, thank you, Jack. I do appreciate that. And we're counting it. Hard to believe 3 years went by so fast. And I've been there for all of it. Thank you, Jack. You sure have. And you've been a valuable part, as so many people writing in daily have been such a valuable part to this program. That's why we didn't do anything necessarily super special, because I wanted to be about you and I. And I decided let's have a brand new guest. One we haven't had on the program before. That's Kevin Adams, the mayor of Horsehead. So we'll be talking to him in the 7 o'clock hour. Oh, and Jack says that's from Florida, by the way. I think I have Florida marked in the map. Yes, I do. But thank you, Jack. Watching all the way from Florida. How nice. Okay, comment from Mark this morning. He writes, first of all, happy 3rd anniversary. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. President Trump's remarks on the war in Iran. Watch what happens to the scumbags today. Apparently he has plans on bombing the heck out of them today. Yes, we'll be watching that closely throughout the morning. He said in a chilling message, I don't think it's chilling. I think he's just being factual. He said, we are totally destroying the terrorist regime of Iran, militarily, economically, and otherwise. Yet, if you read the failing New York Times, you would incorrectly think that we are not winning. This is from a Truth Social post that came out late last night. Iran's Navy is gone. Their Air Force is no longer. Missiles, drones, and everything else are being decimated, and their leaders have been wiped from the face of the earth. He boasted about U.S. military's unparalleled firepower, unlimited ammunition, and plenty of time. And I would add, and yes, the media will run with that part, plenty of time. Endless war, they'll say. But he's right about the New York Times. And I have examples of that we may get to later on of what is really almost Iranian propaganda at points. The way they spin the narratives, the way they question every move, every decision. We'll talk about that. But Trump didn't finish up by saying, but added this: watch what happens to these deranged scumbags today. They've been killing innocent people all over the world for 47 years, and now I, as the 47th president of the United States of America, am killing them. What a great honor it is to do so. Thank you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that is in reference to what Mark said. Yes, Trump stated, watch what happens to these deranged scumbags today. Trump also yesterday temporarily lifted sanctions on Russian oil. According to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he described the move as one of President Trump's decisive steps to promote stability in global energy markets and keep oil prices low amid the threat and instability posed by the terrorist Iranian regime. To increase the global reach of existing supply, Treasury is providing a temporary authorization to permit countries to purchase Russian oil currently stranded at sea. He noted that the narrowly tailored short-term measure will only apply to oil already in transit. There are an estimated 124 million barrels of oil originating from Moscow that is stranded at sea, which is enough for about 5 to 6 days of supply. Bessent also asserted that it will not provide significant financial benefit to the Russian government, adding that the Kremlin derives a majority of its energy revenue from taxes assessed at the point of extraction. President Trump's pro-energy policy have driven U.S. oil and gas production to record levels, contributing to lower fuel prices for hardworking Americans. The temporary increase in oil prices is a short-term and temporary disruption that will result in massive benefit to our nation and economies in the long being. Is that how we said it? In the long term. The exceptions will be in place until April 11th. Also, there is currently, this is wild, a manhunt for masked thieves who raided a U.S. Army base to steal 4 drones. This, of course, coming off of the fears of a potential Iran revenge strike. Army investigators are offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of 2 masked men who stole the drones from Fort Campbell in November. The drones were stored in a secretive engineer battalion building on the base. So this happened all the way back in November. Investigators released images of the 2 suspects they believe were involved in the theft. They were both wearing head and face coverings, dark sweatshirts, and gloves. They made their escape in 2 separate getaway cars, a light-colored 4-door sedan and a dark-colored 4-door pickup truck. All 4 drones were taken from the supply between November 21st and 24th from the Army installation situated on the border between Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and Clarksville, Tennessee. Now, yesterday we had the tragic news in Michigan where a maniac drove a vehicle full of explosives through a preschool at a Michigan synagogue in what is being deemed obviously an anti-Semitic attack. The person responsible for this has been identified as a naturalized U.S. citizen from Lebanon. The wannabe car bomber, who died after smashing through the doors of Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, was ID'd as Aman Mohammed Ghazal, 41. He is married to a U.S. citizen. He entered the U.S. through Detroit in 2011 and became a U.S. citizen himself in 2016 under the Obama administration. According to DHS, he entered the United States on May 10, 2011, at Detroit Metropolitan International Airport on an IR-1 immigration visa as a spouse of a U.S. citizen after alien relative and finance petitions filed in December of 2009 were approved in April of 2010. He applied for naturalization on October 20th, 2015 and was granted U.S. citizenship on February 5th, 2016 under the Obama administration. Also, we had another ISIS-supporting shooter at Old Dominion University. He shouted Allahu Akbar before killing an ROT instructor and injuring 2 others. He busted into a reserve officers training corps classroom at the Virginia College and yelled the Arabic phrase, which translates to God is great, before opening fire, killing a retired military officer and injuring 2 others. The FBI is investigating the shooting as an act of terrorism. Evans wasn't sure how many students were in the classroom during the shooting or if the ROTC program was specifically targeted, and that's FBI Special Agent Dominique Evans. But sources previously told the New York Post that Jallo asked if the class was for the ROTC and opened fire after someone confirmed it was. Jallo, a naturalized U.S. citizen originally from Sierra Leone, fatally shot the course's instructor. 2 other ROTC members injured in the attack are both in stable condition. The instructor killed Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw was in the middle of teaching the course. Shaw completed several tours with the Army since he enlisted in 2003, including deployment to support Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and a rotation to Atlantic Resolve, according to the university's biography. Now, weirdly, just to show you how the media operates and where their mind goes, on MS Now, formerly MSNBC, on a program called The Weekend, co-host Simone Sanders Townsend had this to say while speaking of, and this is about the synagogue attack, specifically about the synagogue attack. While speaking with Senator Chris Coons, Sanders Townsend said, quote, "I just want to take a step back for a second because the events of today, they are harrowing. And I know we do not yet know why the events unfolded in Michigan, but a synagogue was targeted. And I think the Jewish community across this country feels under attack. I'm not divorcing that from the feeling that there are many other Americans that also feel under attack. The immigrant community in this country feels under attack by its own government. What can you say to folks out there right now who may be listening, watching our program, or listening in their cars as they are on the go, and they're concerned, they're anxious, they're scared?" So Sanders Townsend comparing the synagogue attack yesterday to immigrants in this country also feeling under attack by the government, and to, of course, politicize it even further. Aaron Burnett on CNN's Out Front, and CNN has been despicable, really, in their coverage of Iran. But she was referring to the rising terror threats. She blamed it on Doge chaos. Yeah, but it's time, of course, with so much chaos, of course, after Doge and other things. She added that the Old Dominion shooter was on the FBI's radar for years. One special agent saying that he has ties to ISIS. The shooters kept him up at night. So Doge. It's unbelievable. All right, we've got, when we return, oh, hey, another nice, listen to this nice comment. Happy anniversary to Frankly Speaking. Well, thank you. Love your show and appreciate all you do to keep us updated in an unbiased format. Here's to many more anniversaries. Well, so kind of you. Thank you. Everybody's being so nice. Oh, I've got it. Speaking of everybody being so nice, I didn't even show you this. Look at this. What my coworkers got me. I know it's not the perfect angle, but a nice congratulations balloon bouquet that I walked into this morning. Very beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for all the nice comments so far. 3 years on the air, and we're just getting warmed up on today's edition. The next couple of stories are a little bit out there. Not as out there as yesterday where we got talking about Bigfoot, but definitely out there. So with no way to segue. Oh, we do have New York State updates as well. Assemblyman Phil Palmisano and Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski, two fan favorites of this program. They commented on the budget process in Albany. We'll read those comments to you later in the broadcast. As I mentioned, Horseheads Mayor Kevin Adams will be joining us in the 7 o'clock hour. We've had a busy week, haven't we? Monday, we talked about the Book of Mormon at the Clemens Center. Tuesday, the Elmira Express Jr. told us about the Addams Family musical. Wednesday, Chemung County Executive Chris Moss. Thursday, Elmira College joined us to talk about the musical rendition of Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. And today, Kevin Adams. If you missed any of these interviews, you can find them at WYDCTV.com or you can find them on our YouTube page because I'd love to hear your comments. All right, let's take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with the 3rd anniversary edition of Frankly Speaking after this.
Dear Savvy, who says you can't have it all? You've got the tech. You've got the drive. And now you've got Toyota value. Toyota has 4 Corolla models with an MSRP under $26,000. You ready? Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Looking for a meaningful day trip close to home? Visit the historic Elmira Prison Camp, one of the most significant Civil War sites in the North. Walk the grounds, stand where history happened, discover powerful stories of courage, sacrifice, and survival that shaped our nation. Whether you're a history enthusiast, a family looking to learn together, or simply exploring the Finger Lakes region, we offer an experience you won't forget. Plan your visit today at elmiracivilwar.org. Preserve, discover, remember.
Hello. What starts as snow chances gradually transitions to rain chances heading into the afternoon with a high of 44, right on track with average. Tonight, snow is back in the mix with temperatures below freezing. Even so, minimal accumulations expected, mid-20s to near 30. We'll see low 40s on Saturday. Additional opportunities for some rain and snow Sunday and into Monday. 65 then, followed by some much colder conditions into Tuesday.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning on this 3-year anniversary celebration of Frankly Speaking. We're so glad that you joined us. A comment from a viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Congratulations on your 3-year anniversary. Thank you. But don't get too comfortable. It's a stepping stone for you to run for governor. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people that are on this show are running for governor. We're going to have a 5-way primary, the way things are going, but I appreciate the sentiment. I think this is going to upset. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring this up, but I think this will upset a lot of you out there. It kind of did me, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Sometimes we pose questions on this program. The Bank of England, there's a lot of talk about England and how far left they've gone, kind of socialist. Well, the Bank of England has confirmed Sir Winston Churchill will be scrapped from banknotes and replaced with images of wildlife. The central bank will soon ask the public which animals they want to appear on the next set of $5, $10, well, it's not dollars, pounds. It must be 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, and 50 pound notes. But confirm the wartime hero, Prime Minister, would not be staying. The move to replace historical figures with animals was described as, quote, significant and, quote, this is the part that bothered me, overdue. And you know who said that? Just to give you an idea. Celebrity bird watcher Nadeem Pereira, who sits on the bank's panel of wildlife experts who will choose which English species will appear on the next set of banknotes. I know I want major decisions being made by celebrity bird watchers. How does one become there's a real question. How does someone become a celebrity bird watcher? Sounds like a pretty good gig. Well, there you go. I'm not going to go through all of the comments here, but some 60% of respondents chose the theme ahead of, meaning wildlife, ahead of agriculture or architecture, and landmarks, notable historic figures, arts, culture, and sports, etc., etc. While the monarch will remain on the note's front, the decision will remove historical figures including Sir Winston Churchill, Jane Austen, J.M.W. Turner, and Alan Turing. Okay. So long overdue, apparently in England, that Winston Churchill is taken off of their banknotes. Oh, yesterday, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump celebrated Women's History Month at the White House, capped with the president signing a proclamation declaring March Women's History Month. First Lady Melania opened the East Room ceremony with remarks emphasizing that the role of women is closely tied to American strength, saying, quote, the strength of America is closely tied to the role women play in shaping their children's character, education, and morals. The values cultivated within our communities shape the voice and vision of our next generation. The strength of America is closely tied to the role women play. Well, I don't have to keep reading it. But from Martha Washington to Betsy Ross, from Clara Barton to Amelia Earhart and Rosa Parks to Aretha Franklin, American women have propelled us to even greater heights, said the president. Adding his administration aims to make America better, safer, and more prosperous for women and men, but much more importantly, for women. So a very nice ceremony. Women from across the country spoke at the event and shared how the Trump administration and his policies have benefited them. One woman, Heather, who is a waitress and the mother of a 14-year-old, spoke about the tax refund she was receiving thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill, saying, a lot of people I've seen come and go in the industry are single moms and they work hard. They're the hardest working people I know. Then at the end of the year, they're always super stressed out because they don't know where they're going to come up with the extra couple $1,000s that they owe on the taxes. She emphasized that she had to do a double take when she filed her tax return because she was receiving a $4,000 refund. U.S. Olympic bobsledder Callie Humphreys, who has won 3 gold medals and 3 bronze medals, became emotional when she said the title she is most proud of is mom. Isn't that nice? She also surprised Trump with her Olympic Order of Ecos medal. Every Olympic medalist in the United States gets an Order of Ecos that they get to hand to somebody in honor and recognition of somebody who's made a meaningful contribution to their journey to the podium, because Olympic medals are never achieved alone. I'm so honored to present this, my Order of Ecos medal, to you, Donald Trump. Isn't that nice? Oh, how nice is that? Speaking of Melania, Melania's documentary. Now, a lot of people in this viewership out there said they're waiting for it to come to Amazon Prime. Well, it is now on Amazon Prime, and it has topped the movie charts there after its debut. It debuted at the top of Amazon Prime's streaming charts after premiering earlier this week. And I apologize that I missed telling you that I did not know that it was going to be this week that it was released. Just one day after its premiere, Melania became the most streamed film on the platform and the most streamed content overall in the United States. The First Lady celebrated with a post on X As of Thursday, the film is the third most streamed overall behind the Amazon Prime series Scarpetta and Young Sherlock. Melania opened in theaters on January 30th to over $7 million. Reports found that Amazon MGM Studios spent $40 million, with another $35 million spent on marketing. We know that the overall goal was to make it successful and bring more people to Amazon Prime. They said the studio reportedly intended to recoup these costs through licensing deals as well as adding the film to its Prime Video streaming service. There you go. So, and this is one of those prime examples. I know we talked about it a lot, where the media hated it, probably didn't even see it before they hated it. But the people that watched it loved it, according to the ratings. Okay, when we return, we haven't talked about this. Have you heard about Lobstergate? This came up earlier in the week, and I saw it in the media, and I think it's just something that I had in my stack of papers that we never got a chance to talk to. They were saying that Pete Hegseth spent just a huge amount of money on lobster and steaks, millions. And they were criticizing him, late night hosts picked on him, saying that, look, they talk about spending cuts. We're going to talk about this because there's more to it than meets the eye, as is normally the case. Just like we talk about the bias in the media in regards to Iran, there's a lot more to this bias. Obviously, every article, every newscast, it seems, is focused on the negative of Trump, the negative of the conflict with Iran. They hate Pete Hegseth. They have from the beginning, because you're not only talking about someone in Trump's administration, you're talking about someone that came from Fox News. So we're going to talk about that just quickly, because I think it's worth mentioning. Keep those waves, keep those comments coming in. We're already having a blast on the 3rd anniversary edition of Frankly Speaking. We will be right back.
Seven reasons to buy certified pre-owned vehicles at Chilson Wilcox Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
3 months or 3,000-mile maximum care coverage.
Carfax Vehicle History Report.
Car rental allowance. 24-hour roadside assistance.
125-point vehicle inspection.
3-month Sirius XM radio.
Chilson Wilcox, selling cars a different way, the right way.
Our residents, this is something they love. They put themselves out there doing the show, walking the runway, walking the risers. Every penny we take in on our tickets, on our raffles, sponsorship tables, all goes to Mama's House. We sold out in 2 weeks.
This isn't Children's Library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine rentals, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
When a child is fighting a critical illness, one truth touches us all. Every child deserves a childhood. A wish sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide. And when we grant wishes together, we create a movement of kindness, strength, and unity. Yay! Become a wish maker today and be part of a journey that truly changes lives.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Thank you again for joining us on our 3-year anniversary celebration. Okay, some viewer comments. Steve says good morning, and I say good morning to Steve. He said, and I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit, Steve, because some of it, I think, autocorrect and things like that got a little confusing. But the idea, if I could, is that someone needs to stand up against dictators and tyranny. And he talks about the protesters and talks about the protesters that don't live the life of the oppressed, kind of like what we see here. Again, he says they just know more than those celebrating the possibility of having freedom again. That, in their mind, they know better than the people that are celebrating their freedom. Still haven't seen the line of the protesters moving to those countries, though. I wonder why they haven't, LOL. Well, exactly. The protesters, I mean, I think it's extremely, and I've seen some people on the left even talk about it, where there's so many protests that were anti-Israel. But yeah, where are the protests in regards to anti-Iranian regime? I think it's a fair question because the regime was brutalizing their own people, murdering their own people in the streets. Okay, Lobstergate. Late night comedian Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, and Seth Meyers, along with Paul Begala and other CNN blowhards, went big for essentially a fake story, raging about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and other Pentagon bigwigs supposedly eating high on the hog. Again, I didn't mention it because it came from kind of some fringe sources, and I didn't really know how to address it. But it turns out Lobstergate only proved that not one of the on-air geniuses, nor any of their writers or producers, knows a thing about military life. All the smug fury was based on a news item from noted military journalism site TMZ, and that's a little sarcasm there, about the Defense Department spending $22 million on lobster and ribeye steak in a single month. If they'd bothered to check the transparently idiotic assumption that all the eats were for the top brass, they would have learned that a surf and turf feast is a long-standing military tradition, a treat for troops headed to a deployment or stuck on an extended tour, with all that have been stuck with that joy that a diet of MREs can deliver. With more than 1.3 million active duty personnel, that $22 million works out to under $17 a head. Keep in mind the U.S. defense budget is around $900 billion. If the Trump team is spending a teeny fraction of that on slight luxuries for our troops, then good. There's certainly waste in the Pentagon's budget, but that is not it. On that note, Team Trump has introduced competitive bidding for those gourmet purchases, replacing just 2 California companies that had controlled the contracts for years. CNN isn't all bad, by the way. Panelist Scott Jennings challenged Bagala's rant with an on-air appeal. Internet, do something, which brought an avalanche of videos from grunts enjoying their steak and lobster. As for the rest of the brain trust, your privileged ignorance is still showing. They even interview is not the right word, it's kind of an opinion piece from James J. Carfano, who is an expert in national security and foreign policy, 25-year Army veteran. And he goes through and talks about 1978. He said, I was on a training exercise just south of the DMZ in Korea during Jimmy Carter's post-Vietnam military. We lacked for everything except pity for what a pitiful state America's Army had fallen into. America itself was not in much better shape, hammered by economic stagflation and moral malaise. There, on the coldest night of my life, covered in frozen mud so thick I looked like I was wearing a mud jumpsuit, the mess hall delivered a steak dinner. That shoe leather tough, scrawny piece of meat was one of the best meals of my life. Thoughts of it returned to me this week when leftist lunatics started caterwauling, haven't heard that in a while, in unison about alleged luxuries they'd unearthed in Pete Hegseth's budget. A generation earlier, and he goes through a lot of history here. It's a really good piece. It's in the New York Post. This week, while Americans grapple with the war in Iran, spiking oil prices, massive corruption in blue states, and other genuine problems, the left has topped its agenda with Lobstergate. They're claiming to be outraged. Never mind that it's common government practice to hold off on nice-to-have expenses until the end of a budget cycle to ensure there's enough money for mission-essential items. It's also common, indeed righteous, for the U.S. military to treat our troops to a high-end meal in place of their usual grub every now and again, especially when we're about to send them into harm's way, as our nation has done in Venezuela and Iran these last weeks. We all know why some whiz kid on the left dreamed up this smear campaign. It's their latest gotcha assault. In the politics of reckless political desperation, truth is not only the first casualty, truth is little more than acceptable collateral damage. Apparently frustrated that President Trump was not all over the Epstein files, horrified that America may not lose a war against a finalist for the title of the world's most evil regime, and not satisfied with defunding the TSA and the Coast Guard, the left smear merchants needed a new outrage. They never paused to consider that they were committing an unforgivable political sacrilege. And they have so little understanding of our military that they had no idea they'd done so. The faux surf and turf scandal will evaporate as soon as the whiz kids can think of a new horror to froth over. Yeah, and they won't come back to it. It's not like Stephen Colbert or the panelists on CNN are going to come back and say, oh, it turns out this is common practice. Turns out this is a good thing. But more importantly is what this tells us about the American left. They're not even trying to whip up true popular support for their causes. They're just looking for an opportunity to deploy their bought and paid crisis actors into the field. Lemmings who will no doubt now ditch their defund ICE, save Gaza, hands off Iran place cards for shiny new no stake signs. So yes, I know it wasn't the hardest hitting news, but I wanted to mention it because it's a prime example of the media looking for a scandal that does not exist. And in this case, very despicable. Essentially, in their smug, mocking attitudes about Pete Hegseth's budget, not realizing, or maybe they did realize, that this is going to our troops that we are about to send in harm's way, potentially, that this is an investment. This is, as that person said, a righteous investment. So I had to pass that along in case you've heard it or you've seen people on your Facebook or your social media talking about Lobstergate. Okay, we have a couple of other things before we get into Iran. How am I doing on time? All right, we're doing good. Okay. I see some great comments coming in. Oh, look at this. Climate Fact Friday. Bob sending us in a comment. We'll read that. Let's save that for the top of the hour, just to keep you hooked during this 3-year celebration of Frankly Speaking. Hard to believe. 3 years. It's changed quite a bit, hasn't it? We've had a lot of great guests, a lot of great comments, a lot of great conversations. So did you see, we have time for this. Sit back and relax. Eric Swalwell, who is trying to, number one, become governor of California, but he really wants to be a rising star in the Democrat Party. He already ran kind of for president once before. To me, he just falls flat on everything. If you ever get bored, watch that hearing where he tries to attack Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro just embarrassed him. Whatever you think of Ben Shapiro, it was a masterclass in getting somebody who thinks they're a lot smarter than they are. And that's exactly who Eric Swalwell is. He's the one that does the awkward videos of him working out when there's a government shutdown. He threw some kind of veiled threat at Greg Gutfeld. Just an odd guy. Well, he's running, as I said, for governor of California. There are claims about his living in a rented California home that have now raised red flags among members of the state Democratic Party after multiple neighbors at his supposed home of 9 years have never seen or met him. So we have potentially a man here running for a governor of California that does not live in California. The Democrat frontrunner for governor claims he's lived there since 2017 with another family in a 1,350 square foot Livermore home owned by the sister-in-law of his political mentor, Tim Sabranti. Now, does that raise a couple red flags for you? So he's living with a family in this home that happens to be owned by the sister-in-law of what you would say his political mentor. And yet the neighbors have never seen or met him. 5 neighbors failed to identify Swalwell on Wednesday when the New York Post showed them a picture of the congressman and identified him by name. "I've never seen him," said Gita Prousty, who noted she's lived on Mitchell Court for 5 years. Lauren Anthony, 19, lives in a house 2 doors down from Swalwell's listed address, but she told the Post she had never seen him. When asked how long she had lived on that street, she said, "All of my life." Swalwell's unusual housing agreement in the East Bay district, as well as frequent campaign spending on luxury hotels in and around his district, had brought the congressman's claims to California residency under fire. So he's not, even when he's in his district, he's staying at luxury hotels and not in the supposed house that he lives in. The home on Wednesday had running shoes strewn across the doorstep, an upside-down container of cottage cheese was left in the yard, and faded patio chairs were placed near the doorstep next to a fire pit table. Behind a chain-link fence, a German shepherd was barking. State law requires a candidate for California governor to be a resident for 5 years immediately preceding the election, and residency is generally defined as a fixed place where a person lives and intends to remain. Swalwell, who is married with 3 children, but lives with a different family of his political mentor. And his family lives in a $1.2 million home in Washington, D.C., and he allegedly rents a room in the home on Mitchell Court as a place to stay when back in the district. Lee Fink, an Orange County attorney who worked in the Obama administration, now serves as a delegate for the California Democrat Party, told the New York Post that Swallow's residency issues have become a big concern for us Democrats. There's red flags all over the place. That his neighbors don't know he's there suggests that he's not actually there. If the campaign records show that he's staying at a hotel nearby, it means he doesn't have a permanent place of abode in California. That's critical. That's a huge problem for the Democrat Party because Swalwell is at or near the top of the polls. The last thing any Democrat wants is some right-winger like Steve Hilton or Chad Bianco to fall in the governor's chair because the leading candidate is disqualified. You'd think Swalwell would do a lot more to ease the doubts. Ryan Hughes, an attorney for progressive billionaire Tom Steyer, called on the Secretary of State's office to launch an investigation into Swalwell's residency claims, while Steve Hilton, a Republican former Fox News host, on Thursday called for Swalwell to be disqualified from the June elections, saying Swalwell's fake residency disqualifies him from running for governor. This is fraud. This fraud doesn't even live in California. Just quickly, I had to just mention that because he's one of the rising stars. He's one of the kind of AOCs, the Jasmine Crockett's, the list of young progressives that I would say very often embarrass themselves with the rhetoric, but to some, apparently it works, right? I guess we got to throw Mamdani in there too. But I found that really interesting. There could be a little bit of trouble there. Well, maybe if he doesn't win governor, he'll just run for president again. All right, let's take a short break. I see a lot of comments coming in. We'll read them when we return. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox will be right back, celebrating 3 years.
More cars, lower prices. Simmons Rockwell. Whether you're in the market for new, used, or certified pre-owned, Simmons Rockwell locations across the Twin Tiers have more of what you're looking for with our best price right on the windshield. Make car buying simple when you drive your deal at a Simmons Rockwell location near you, where you'll always find more cars at lower prices.
Did you know that children growing up with poor air quality have smaller lungs and higher rates of asthma than children that grow up with good air quality? And unfortunately, poor communities have poor air quality. IQ Air Foundation is working to change this. Today, the IQ Air Foundation provides filtration technology to schools with poor air quality through our Clean Air for Kids program. Our goal is to help over 50,000 school children every year breathe over 90% cleaner air indoors, helping to level the playing field, reduce barriers to learning, reduce sick days, and increase test scores. Mitigating poor air quality is key to environmental justice. Help Clean Air for Kids reach more children at IQAirFoundation.org.
Hello. What starts as snow chances gradually transitions to rain chances heading into the afternoon with a high of 44, right on track with average. Tonight, snow is back in the mix with temperatures below freezing. Even so, minimal accumulations expected, mid-20s to near 30. We'll see low 40s on Saturday. Additional opportunities for some rain and snow Sunday and into Monday. 65 then, followed by some much colder conditions into Tuesday.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. I just got to say for a second, we're celebrating 3 years on the air. How great has Hesselson's been from day one? They've been the studio from day one, and I can't thank them enough. I'm proud to have them part of the program. And I don't say that enough. I know Joe and I talk about it a lot when Joe Sempolinski is on the program. We talk about the Hesselson's Hot Tub Studio. But we want to thank, as always, all of our sponsors, but the great Hesselsons. So please visit them, call them, tell them thank you. for being such an important part of this program. All right, let's go to some viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. Happy 3rd anniversary. My first cup of coffee in your show every morning. Congratulations. Well, how nice. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Comment from Jack. He says, good morning, Frank. Here again, this is going to be probably a first for a Frankly Speaking watcher. Since I have the ability to watch the show on my phone using Sling, I'm going to ride my e-bike this morning to breakfast at BK using a phone bracket on the handlebars in Florida. What a beautiful way to celebrate 3 years of my favorite show. Wishing you many more years of Frankly Speaking. Well, thank you, Jack. Be safe on the roads out there. I would say, as far as I'm aware, that is definitely a very niche first, but it is a first. I don't know. I know you've watched, I think, before on your bike, but I've never remember Florida going to breakfast. This is like baseball when they have the stats that no one's hit the ball in that exact location by a left-hander since 1994 on a rainy day in February. You know, like one of those kind of things. Not February. Anyway, all right. Comment from a different viewer. Congratulations, Frank. Well, thank you. Given that Crockett spent a whole lot of taxpayer dollars on herself, the idea of taking care of the troops who matter and who love this country pales in comparison to the selfish, hateful, anti-Jewish, anti-American, mean-spirited Crockett. Thank you very much. Ken writes in, happy anniversary, Frank. Well, thank you. But celebrating just 3 years on the air doesn't do justice to the longevity of Frankly Speaking. You were also on the radio for several years. Yes, thank you, Ken. 3 years of TV, and I want to say it was 14 years, I think. I think I just missed 15. I keep meaning to do the math. 15 years on the radio and numerous amazing guests. And I know a lot of people, when we first had the commercial for Frankly Speaking on TV, which had played in the Super Bowl, a lot of people were very excited to return from the radio days and seeing it on TV. So I appreciate everybody who made the switch over and all of our new now viewers. But yes, 14 or 15 years on the air and radio. It's hard to believe. Long time in the media for any market. Thank you for sending in a lot of waves and pictures. Man, we're getting a lot of great things. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's go to this real quick, and then we're going to talk about Iran. The Senate passed on a bipartisan basis a bill barring Wall Street investors from buying up single-family homes, sending the legislation back to the House where it faces an uphill battle before reaching President Trump's desk. Senators in an 89-10 vote adopted provisions from the 21st Century Road to Housing Act that were tucked into an already passed House measure, meaning it will have to return to the lower chamber for final approval. Now, one of the things what makes this important is, okay, it's bipartisan. Number one, why can't we get the SAVE Act? Why can't we do some of these other things? But, okay, bipartisan. So Elizabeth Warren's bill, fine, whatever. That gets through. Will it go any further? Because there's a lot of people in the House saying not until the SAVE Act is passed, we're not doing anything. Trump's saying the same thing, not going to sign anything until we get the SAVE Act. So it's worth mentioning, but is it going anywhere? The new bill will reduce regulations related to environmental reviews as well as construction and create new block grant programs for building units as well as affordable housing. The bipartisan effort is designed to drive down housing costs as part of the broader affordability agenda. It did have some interesting support. So it was co-authored by Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Chairman Tim Scott, Republican from South Carolina, someone I interviewed back in the day on radio, and Senator Elizabeth Warren, who I have not interviewed. In the floor speech before the vote, Scott said housing should be a bipartisan issue that's about helping moms like the one that raised me, who didn't become a homeowner until the age of 38 while raising 2 boys as a single parent in a 700-square-foot rental property. Today, the average age of a first-time homebuyer is 40 years old before you ever experience the American dream. That age is too old, said Scott. Senator Thom Tillis opposed the bill as too lefty. My goodness, when did conservative Republicans start carrying Elizabeth Warren's banner on housing strategy, Tillis said. Anyway, enough on that. Will it go anywhere? I don't know. Not until the SAVE Act is passed. Why is it, though, it seems like, quote-unquote, bipartisan support is always Republicans giving in to the Democrats' issues? Why do we hear of no bipartisan support for the SAVE Act, which Americans overwhelmingly support? Isn't it interesting how that works? All right, we're going to talk about Iran. Like I said, we have a lot of Trump issues. We seem to be going through a lot this morning. As I said, in the next hour, we're going to be talking with Horseheads Mayor Kevin Adams. We do have a Climate Fact Friday Bob comment. By the way, and I'm going to bring this up a couple times, but I'm really excited about it, and I know that you will be too, if you're able to attend. Tomorrow is the 3rd annual Wienerville Benefit Night at the Moose Lodge. Now, that is the Corning Moose Lodge, but it's in Painted Post in the old Pizza Hut by the movie theaters. It's hot dog and baked potato bar. It's delicious. I went last year. I had so much. Everybody had fun. It's dine-in only, no takeouts. It's tomorrow from 4 till 10 p.m. The raffle baskets will be there, 50-50 drawings, live music by Wastin' Time, and the proceeds go to the Salvation Army of Corning and Ronald McDonald House of Rochester. It's just $18, which includes food and music. You're going to have a blast. I'm not exaggerating. You know, I've talked about this a lot. I had such a fun time that I'm really looking forward to it tomorrow. So, if you do attend, come over and say hi. Celebrate the 3-year anniversary of Frankly Speaking with me with a hot dog and a baked potato. All right, we got to take a short break. You heard the Corning whistle. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
To the me I used to be, before talking to 988.
I felt alone.
I thought seeing hard things was just part of the job. I thought that having a bad day at work meant I was failing. But then I connected with someone at 988.
A real person texted back. Someone listened without judgment.
Now I know. Now I know it's okay to let someone help me too.
And I'm stronger than I thought.
We hear you. Call, text, or chat 988.
Having a safe home is essential to many aspects of our lives. From a sense of community and safety, to physical and mental health, to economic security and independence. Most homes in our communities are not accessible and are not designed to accommodate the changes that come with age, including the risk of falling. The Older Adults Home Modification Program helps reduce the risk of falls, improves safety, and increases accessibility and independence. Through this program, Rebuilding Together works with older adults to provide no-cost preventative home repairs so our neighbors can safely age in place in the homes and communities they love. To learn more, visit rebuildingtogether.org/safeathome.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, celebrating 3 years on the air here on Frankly Speaking. And if you are just joining us, I've got to show this again because it was so nice and kind of my coworkers. I know it's not the best view, but there are my congratulatory balloons. Really nice bouquet, really nice. So, we are celebrating. We're having a great time with your comments, your waves, your likes. Okay. Iranian Supreme Leader Mojabi Khamenei vowed Thursday to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed as a, quote, tool to pressure the enemy. The cost of oil surged as the Trump administration acknowledged it would be a longer-term problem, with one military fix of naval escorts not available until April. Brent crude crossed $100 per barrel, up 50% from a month ago, as most oil tankers were unwilling to go anywhere near the Iranian coastline. Iran has attacked at least 7 ships in the Persian Gulf since Wednesday. Now, the question still remains, is Khamenei healthy? He made his first televised address since being elected, vowing to avenge the death of his father, wife, son, and sister in airstrikes on the first day of the war. Certainly, the lever of closing the Strait of Hormuz must continue to be used, he said. He said the actions were a tool to pressure the enemy. The statement comes, and I think that was just a statement. I don't know, was that in person? Because I know there was a lot of questions surrounding his health, where there was reports that he was in a coma. There's reports that he had a leg amputated. Trump said yesterday, I think in an interview, was it with Brian Kilmeade? He said that he thinks Khamenei's alive but could be badly injured. And the Khamenei, I should say, released his first statement saying, so it was released his first statement, not doing like a television broadcast, right? The lengthy message was read out on Iranian state television. Yeah, that other article had that worded strange. No explanation was given for why the 56-year-old did not appear in the flesh, with experts suggesting the message was a sign that Khamenei is little more than a figurehead and that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps remains as the real center of power. Khamenei saying, "I assure everyone that we will not refrain from avenging the blood of our martyrs. The retaliation we have in mind is not limited only to the martyrdom of the great leader of the revolution, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Rather, every member of the nation who was martyred by the enemy constitutes a separate case in the file of revenge. Our sincere thanks go to our brave fighters who, at the time when our nation and beloved homeland have been unjustly attacked by the leaders of the front of arrogance, have blocked the enemy's path with their powerful blows and dispelled their illusion of being able to dominate our beloved country or possibly divide it." Khamenei, who specifically noted avenging those killed in the strike of the elementary school, said Iran would obtain compensation from its enemy, meaning the U.S. and Israel. If it refuses, we will take from its assets to the extent we deem appropriate. And if that is not possible, we will destroy its assets to the same extent. The message was clear: call for Iranian allies abroad to take revenge. Washington-based National Union for Democracy in Iran think tank said its hint of activating terror cells, like the warnings that have come out of Europe and the U.S., and the reports of preparing strikes on the West Coast. All right. So, again, there's a lot of questions at his big, I don't think inauguration is the right term, but when it was announced of his sending to Supreme Leader, he was not in attendance for, obviously, fear of his life, or if he is having these type of serious health issues, which a lot of people are wondering. Now, Trump did... No, let me take a break. We've got more on Iran when we return. Remember, we got a Climate Fact Friday Bob comment at the top of the hour, so you don't want to miss it as we celebrate 3 years on the air with Frankly Speaking. We'll be right back, getting ready to wrap up hour number 1.
Accidents happen. If you're looking for an honest, dependable, trustworthy auto repair shop, bring it to Nappy's. Or if it's undrivable, have it towed right to us. It's your choice where to take your vehicle. Nappy's works with all insurance companies and will manage all vehicle calibrations. Nappy's has a state-of-the-art paint booth and a new and improved repair shop. Let our friendly staff of specialists help you through the process and get it done right the first time. Commit to Nappy's, family-owned for 3 generations.
Thank you for your business.
State nearly $60 million towards improving key roadways across the southern tier.
Many older homes are still at risk for exposing residents to high levels of lead.
The Nani Hood Parent Resource Center once again brought the community together for its annual Halloween parade.
Around the southern tier, Finger Lake stands out for its scenery and wine scene. This year's dry drought brought some positives to the crop. Lee Com Center is looking for fans to show up and show out.
Hello. What starts as snow chances gradually transitions to rain chances heading into the afternoon with a high of 44, right on track with average. Tonight, snow is back in the mix with temperatures below freezing. Even so, minimal accumulations expected, mid-20s to near 30. We'll see low 40s on Saturday. Additional opportunities for some rain and snow Sunday and into Monday. 65 then, followed by some much colder conditions into Tuesday.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. We're going to read some comments at the top of the hour, but sad news in the breaking news category. 4 crew members have been killed as U.S. Air Force refueling plane crashes in Iraq, according to the military. The circumstances of the incident are under investigation. However, the loss of the aircraft was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire. 2 planes were involved in the crash. The second aircraft landed safely. The U.S. military was withholding the identities of the crew member until 24 hours after their families were notified. Bringing that breaking news to you this morning. We've got a lot of comments coming in. A lot of comments coming in. I do appreciate it. We're going to read Climate Fact Friday Bob at the top of the next hour. One last thing on this part of Iran. We'll talk more about it in the next hour, but I didn't want to leave you hanging. President Trump warned recently about Iranian sleeper cells potentially operating in North America. Canadian opposition lawmakers are accusing their own government of allowing operatives linked to Iran's regime to remain in the country. Get this. Trump saying, I have been briefed, and a lot of people came in through Biden with this stupid open border. But we know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them. Obviously, there is concern about the sleeper cells, this kind of terrorist attack. But conservatives in Canada say the government has failed to act against Iranian regime officials despite identifying individuals linked to Tehran. That's a weird way of wording that. Listen to this. According to Deputy Conservative Leader Melissa Lantsman, the Liberals have known for years that there are hundreds of Iranian regime officials, so regime officials in Canada, 239 of whom have had their visas canceled. Wow. Right across the border. Okay. We've got more on Iran. We're going to talk about New York State issues as well. As I said, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano and Assemblyman Joe Semplinsky weighed in on the budget proposals, the one House proposals coming out of Albany. We'll give you a quick update on that. A couple other New York State issues as well. As I mentioned, we've got Horseheads Mayor Kevin Adams coming in to celebrate with us on the 3rd anniversary of Frankly Speaking. And again, thank you for all the amazing messages. I'm glad that you've liked us for 3 years. We're trying. So I do appreciate it. We'll be reading your comments, all of that, and much more. If you are new to the program, as we celebrate 3 years, you can always text that number on the bottom of the screen. You can wave. You can send in a comment. If you do call in, please leave a voicemail. We can't take live calls, but please leave a voicemail. We'll try to do our best to read that live on the air. Well, I think that covers everything. Oh, one other thing, because we already started campaign season. If you or someone you know is running for elected office, please have them contact me. We're going to, again, which I'm proud of this tradition, be kind of the home of where you can learn about your candidates. So when you go into the voting booth, whether it's primary or general election, you know exactly who you're voting for, why you're voting for them. You're not going to go in and elect Tiffany Henyard, the Dalton super mayor. You're going to know who and why you're voting. So if you know anybody or you yourself are a candidate, please have them contact me. We're already getting them in order. As you saw just recently where we had Shabun County Executive Chris Moss running for re-election and his opponent Mark Margison in that Republican primary. We had both of them on already, so we're just getting started. All right, enough of that. Enough housekeeping, and let's get back to celebrating. As we return, we'll be reading your comments, and we'll be getting back to all the issues of the day. This is, Frankly Speaking, celebrating 3 years on the air. We will be right back.
You don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
It's the home of Tivity. Release your inner audio engineer. Create with the 3D printer. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to your local library today.
Tired of the cold weather? Sunny days are closer than you think. Get ready now for fun later with a boat, camper, or RV loan from Servview Credit Union at just 5.99% APR for up to 10 years. Adventure is waiting. Apply today.
Imagine you're in a new Toyota.
Wow. Awesome. Cool.
Sweet. Nice. Hey! I like your dress.
You look pretty.
No, you look pretty.
No, you look pretty.
No, you.
Right now, lease the #1 selling midsize sedan in America, the 2026 all-hybrid Camry with all-wheel drive for just $259 a month.
Go from dreaming it to driving it today.
Toyota.
And we welcome you to hour number 2 of our 3-year anniversary celebration here on Frankly Speaking on WYDC TV Big Fox, we are broadcasting live, and as always, proudly from the Hesselson studio right here in the Gaffer District, historic Market Street. Let's go to some viewer comments. Mark writes in, the Democrats not voting in the SAVE Act with 87% of all Americans wanting it just shows us that Democrats don't care about what we want at all. Yeah, they're definitely not working in their constituents' best interest, are they? They make that crystal clear. Comment from a different viewer. Awesome. 3 years. Congrats. Well, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Yep. Celebrating 3 years. It's hard to believe. Okay. Comment from a different viewer. Frank, I've been trying to think of one single thing that the Democrats have done for America other than to incessantly complain and obstruct progress. But I can come up with nothing. Can you think of anything they have done? No, they're really good at grandstanding. They're really good at the rhetoric. But really, if you look at their arguments, it's just, we hate Trump. I mean, I know it's cliche to say at this point, but that is really the bedrock of their campaigns. So I think you raised a good point. Ken writes, and Ken, you got me laughing when I read this. At first, when you pointed the camera toward the window to show what your coworkers gave you in celebration for 3 years on the air, I saw, let me put it up there. I saw the red truck outside and thought, wow, yeah, I should have been more specific. It was the balloon bouquet. But no, it was not the truck. But I can understand why you would think that. I should have been more specific. It was a bouquet. That made me laugh good. Okay, yes, we are celebrating 3 years on the air. Okay, here we go. This is our 3-year anniversary Climate Fact Friday Bob comment. Good morning, all, from Climate Fact Friday, Bob. Well, good morning, Bob. In 1950, let me try it again. In 1959, the U.S. Army built Camp Century under Greenland's ice, complete with tunnel labs and even a nuclear reactor. It was abandoned in 1967. Since then, the official story has been that Greenland is melting away, but in reality, Camp Century hasn't emerged. It's been buried deeper. Recent radar scans show the base has been entombed beneath around 100 feet of accumulated snow and ice. Far from vanishing, Greenland keeps burying the past with new snow. It isn't the ice that melting, it's the narrative. Proof again, the world is not warming due to CO2 from fossil fuels. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy. Congratulations, Frank. Always speaking truth in media. Well, thank you, Bob, and we always appreciate you being a part of the program. We look forward to it every Friday. Okay. Back on Iran, just to show you some of the media bias that we're going to get to. Then we're going to talk about New York. We've got, as I said, Horseheads Mayor Kevin Adams coming in just a little bit. Our senator, well, we have a lot of great Pennsylvania viewers as well, but to the New York viewers, our senator, Kirsten Gillibrand, is calling for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's resignation amid mounting questions about how a deadly strike on an all-girls elementary school on the first day of the military operation in Iran unfolded. She was on Wolf Blitzer's program. She said she had deep concerns about how the location was targeted. She referred to preliminary findings from an ongoing military investigation indicating the U.S. was responsible for the strike. I want to know what Secretary Hegseth knew about this targeting. I don't think we have had the oversight and accountability that we are entitled to. We have yet to have an open hearing on the Iran war in the Armed Services Committee. So I have a great deal of question, and I think Secretary Hegseth should resign because of this failure in being more precise. Democrat Representative Daniel Goldman was on CNN Anderson Cooper 360. CNN has been horrible on this. Goldman said, and we're seeing it now with the bad intelligence about the school that the U.S. military blew up and killed 175, mostly children. Now we're seeing that they didn't anticipate that Iran would actually retaliate. Is that really what they're saying right now? And this is why it's not an academic discussion about following the Constitution and going to Congress. Because if you do go to Congress, you need to present a plan. You need to present a strategy. You need to present a day after plan. You need to present an objective. They don't even have an objective here. It's unclear entirely. I don't think they know what they're trying to do. That is why you do not send American troops, the American military, into a war that you are unprepared for and that you do not have any idea how the enemy is going to react. Okay. Chris Matthews on Morning Joe yesterday said Cronkite would end this show with how many days the hostages have been held. They knew exactly what they're doing. They were there. They were decapitating Jimmy Carter. And so the hostages to watch how every day they had the flags burning, every day they had the trooping of the diplomats, the 50 diplomats walking around blindfolded to humiliate them. They were humiliating Carter every single day. And it was on our television. It was hurting Carter, and he ended up losing. They never sent the hostages back until he'd been beaten up by Reagan. And then when he left office, they knew exactly what they're doing. They decapitated Carter, and I got to tell you, they're doing the same thing to Trump. They know exactly what the Strait of Hormuz is doing to the oil markets, to the markets in general. They know what we're up because Trump is on television all the time. They see him. They know how he works and how to hurt him, and they're trying to decapitate him. And then we've got more from the media. U.S. intel warns Iran regime not in danger of collapsing. Okay. I mean, you see this, and it's like John Fetterman, who's been spot on, talking about, you would think the media was cheering on Iran at this point. Listen to this, from the brilliant military mind of Stephen Collinson from CNN. 7 reasons why Trump hasn't won the Iran war. Stephen Collinson, military expert from CNN. When I say that, I'm being extremely sarcastic. Here goes. Wow, there's a lot of intro, a lot of buildup. Okay, Trump is facing growing political and military challenges. Trump abhors such restraints as a lifelong salesman who deals in hyperbole. Let me say we've won, he said in Kentucky. You know, you never like to say too early that you won. We won. We won in the first hour. It was over, but we won. But an objective survey of events suggests that the U.S. has not yet won. Thickening complexity challenges a politically convenient victory narrative. The Strait of Hormuz crisis is another reason why we haven't won the war yet, according to Stephen Collinson. The supreme leader problem, the assassination of Ayatollah al-Khamenei by the first strike of the U.S.-Israeli war, framed the conflict as a direct attempt to impose regime change, even if U.S. officials de-emphasized that goal following the regime's subsequent survival. So the replacement of the longtime ruler by his son clouds Trump's narrative of success. Okay, we continue. Would Israel stop fighting? Assuming Trump reaches a point where he wishes to end the war for political reasons, there's no certainty that Israel, which is far more accommodated to the possibility of forever wars due to its geopolitical position, would agree. Okay? No clear war narrative. The confusion and contradictions of the administration's descriptions of its war aims may also thwart the setting of a coherent victory story. And then the nuclear question. Iran's political stasis. America's political situation. Those are why the brilliant military mind of Stephen Collinson believes that we have not won the war in Iran. But then you see this report that Iranian regime is spreading anti-Israel propaganda across dozens of social media accounts. Well, I would say propaganda is easily being spread by the mainstream media and how they are reporting this. I know Carolyn Levitt has called it out. I know she was saying yesterday she was demanding a retraction that the FBI had said that there was a threat of the drones in California. I mean, the media, you know, because someone kind of mentioned that I was in radio for a long time, and we used to do, some of you may recall it, an old-time radio broadcast on the weekends. And I used to love listening during World War II broadcasts, you know, Jack Benny, these type of programs, Burns and Allen, I like the comedy ones, but there's great Westerns too. But when they would have these type of variety shows, and it was all about buying war bonds, it was all patriotism, the music very often patriotic, it was catered to the patriotism of this country, and it was so unifying to hear, and it would give you the goosebumps and chills to see how the media, how Hollywood, how celebrities were all in for the country. Now it feels, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels the opposite. You see the statements that celebrities make at these award shows, trying to make a name for themselves, but again, preaching to the choir of other people that also hate ICE, right? Or you've got the media who is pushing this narrative because, again, the hatred of Trump, they're pushing the narrative that we're not winning, that we're not doing a good job, that everything's a failure, because they want this to destroy Trump. Remember, they don't want us to beat a regime that has killed countless Americans and countless people across the world, that is potentially looking to get a nuclear weapon. They don't want us to end that because they're more worried. Think about the short-sightedness of this. They're more worried about November and having Democrats take over. So 47 years, that terrorist regime, and they don't want them taken out. You don't see protests in the street either, but they don't want them taken out because it could hurt Trump and it could hurt Republicans in November. Wow. When you think about that and you really put it into focus, it shows you what we're dealing with. And also I would just add, because I know I keep saying it, the protesters in the street with their anti-Semitic, anti-Israel protests that happen all throughout the country. We saw them here on Market Street almost daily. Where were they and where are they now asking and demanding and protesting that Iran be taken out because of what they've done to their people for 47 years? All right, we see a lot of comments coming in, and I love that. We're celebrating. I know it's hokey. I like the confetti. Celebrating 3 years on the air with Frankly Speaking. I'm so glad that you've joined us. We'll read some comments when we return. Also, Kevin Adams coming up in just a little bit. So keep them coming in. Keep those waves coming in. We're having a blast this morning. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
When it comes to cleaning your house or business, Magic Rags Cleaning Service has you covered from ceiling to floor. With powerful steam cleaning and attention to detail, we have you covered for moving out cleans, move-in cleans, Airbnbs, or just keeping everything neat and tidy. We go above and beyond in our residential and commercial cleaning, and our professional crew makes sure that your house or business is always ready for company. Call our number or schedule an appointment on Yelp or Facebook today.
Sevens to buy certified pre-owned vehicles at Chilson Wilcox Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
3 months or 3,000-mile maximum care coverage.
Carfax Vehicle History Report.
Car rental allowance. 24-hour roadside assistance.
125-point vehicle inspection.
3-month Sirius XM radio.
Chilson Wilcox, selling cars a different way, the right way.
New York State nearly $60 million towards improving key roadways across the southern tier.
Many older homes are still at risk for exposing residents to high levels of lead.
The Nani Hood Parent Resource Center once again brought the community together for its annual Halloween parade.
Around the southern tier, Finger Lake stands out for its scenery and wine scene. This year's drive drought brought some positives to the crop. Lee Com Center is looking for fans to show up and show out.
Hello. What starts as snow chances gradually transitions to rain chances heading into the afternoon with a high of 44, right on track with average. Tonight, snow is back in the mix with temperatures below freezing. Even so, minimal accumulations expected, mid-20s to near 30. We'll see low 40s on Saturday. Additional opportunities for some rain and snow Sunday and into Monday. 65 then, followed by some much colder conditions into Tuesday.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments. Viewer called in saying, "Morning, Frank. Congratulations on your 3 years." Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Comment from a different viewer. "Congratulations on 3 years from Canisteo." Well, thank you for joining us in Canisteo. We do appreciate that. I love when people tell us where they're from. We've had a lot of people from all over the area. All right. Continuing. And say hi to everybody in Canisteo for me. Oh, there's a wave. Oops, I'm out of order here. Thank you, P. Hegseth, for exposing Gillibrand for what she really is. Very good point. Thank you. Comment from a different viewer. "Maybe they don't want to tell Congress the plan because we have a bunch of leakers on the Democrat side." Well, oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no way with that precision that they had to use to get all 40-plus leaders in that first strike, it would have failed miserably. It would have gotten to the press, would have gotten to some lobbyists with nefarious ties. There's no doubt. "Look at the Trump Afghanistan withdrawal plan Congress approved. Joe Biden threw it in the garbage and didn't follow it anyway." You're right. The media is cheering on Iran or anything else to destroy America, this viewer says. Comment from a different viewer. Regarding letting Congress know about war plans, we all know that before the leftist anti-American media could even present its biased news presentation, that Iran would have already made retaliatory counterattack plans. Thank you very much. And finally, wow, 3 years already. Congratulations, Frank, on bringing truthful news to our area, state and nation, of our area, state and nation. We appreciate you. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you. Yes, we are having a lot of fun here this morning. Oh, and throwing in a bonus wave there. We are celebrating as... Okay, now it's for Ken here. Now the picture of the balloons is more. That's what my coworkers got me, that beautiful bouquet, not the truck that was previously there. But yes, we are having a fun time here in the studios, the Hesselson studio. Okay. Kevin Roberts, I think, has a really good point on this. He said in just a few days, Operation Epic Fury has eliminated Iran's leadership, degraded its capacity to terrorize the West, and, for the moment, united the Middle East and most of the world around a vital American interest. It's still early, of course, but so far, President Trump has achieved a strategic masterstroke. He has done so by reviving America's oldest, simplest, and best national security policy: peace through strength. Yet Washington Democrats are blasting the president for ordering the attacks at all. They are still clinging bitterly to President Barack Obama's delusion of pacifying the Ayatollahs through diplomacy and appeasement, not to mention a lot of money. Not only lifting sanctions, but literally delivering pallets of cash to one of America's most dangerous enemies. On the other side of the aisle, some principled MAGA conservatives are understandably wary of another forever war in the Middle East. But both critics misapprehend this mission, this commander-in-chief, and his national security strategy. First, the president's go order Friday morning was not a rejection of diplomacy. It was an acknowledgement diplomacy with Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was impossible. 8 American presidents have tried to deal with Iran since the 1979 revolution. After 47 years of theft, murder, and terror, even Donald Trump was forced to acknowledge there was no deal there for America to make. Diplomacy that isn't ultimately backstopped by force isn't diplomacy. It's weakness, the kind that invites rather than prevents war. Once Trump decided to act, he ensured our troops would work hand in glove with the region's most lethal military and best intelligence, courtesy of our friends in Israel. Second, Donald Trump is neither a messianic crusader nor a naive nation builder. He has been president for 5 years, and the closest thing to a forever war he has ever started was his boycott of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and even that is coming to an end. Trump has been a peaceable president and indeed a peacemaker. His military interventions have been uniformly swift, decisive, and effective. Peace through strength is most associated with Ronald Reagan's approach during the Cold War, but its principles can be seen in the foreign policies, however diverse, and application of Richard Nixon, Franklin, and Franklin and Theodore Roosevelt and the founding generation. George Washington said, quote, "To be prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace. So is applying overwhelming force to quickly resolve discrete, urgent national threat diplomacy cannot. Trump I'm having trouble with some of these words, closer to both rules than any president in a generation." What? Owned? Maybe closer to, as the Heritage Foundation documents in our new 2026 Index of Military Strength, President Trump has built his administration, our armed forces, and his global strategy around the defense of America's vital interests. Remnants of his predecessor's globalism and politicalization is still rattle around the federal budget and bureaucracy. But Trump is reforming our military more rapidly and comprehensively than most experts give him credit for. It is not luck. Trump's pragmatic peace through strength approach protects himself, our troops, and our nation from potential quagmires. Even as spirits are running high this week, Trump speaks humbly about the narrow, modest goals of the Iran war. No chest thumping about a new world order, no cringy Islam means peace pandering, no cakewalk hubris, just a straightforward setting of accounts with the beating heart of global terrorism and the oil-rich co-conspirators in Russia and China mischief. In a just world, Epic Fury would be the end to the GOP's establishment's habit of smearing the America First right as isolationists. Conservative critics of Bush-era adventurism were never any such thing. That is why most of us cheering Trump's leadership in Iran today. A targeted, overwhelming military response to decades of violent aggression and years of diplomatic stonewalling is what peace through strength looks like. So does President Trump and War Secretary Pete Hegseth's reform of the Pentagon budget. So do Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio's frank but friendly speeches at the last 2 Munich security conferences. Operation Epic Fury, like President Trump's prior interventions in Iran and Venezuela, do not contradict his peace brokering in Russia, Ukraine, and elsewhere. They are all applications of peace through strength, the only American foreign policy that has ever really worked. All right, there we go. Also, okay, so we're going to hear from Horseheads Mayor Kevin Adams when we return. But there are a couple more things. We may get back to Iran. There's a couple of ideas. I'll just throw them at you and you can give us your opinion. Trump's decision to fight Iran is historic, but he needs to finish the job. That's what Douglas Murray said. Here's one. Iran war jeopardizes Trump economic boom before key midterm elections, says Peter St. Ong. But when we return, we're going to hear from Kevin Adams, and then we're going to hear from some of our representatives in regards to the New York State budget. All right, let's go through a couple comments before we go to break. Add a wave. Congratulations on 3 years. With all the comments, maybe you should be on 3 hours. That's true. I think we could just fill an hour with comments. Congratulations on 3 years of unbiased truth. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Everybody's so kind this morning. Ken writes in, I was thinking about Climate Fact Friday, Bob, when I read a climate scare article in the local paper that said the sea level is rising faster than expected and went on to say it has risen by an average of 8 inches since 1850. I assume the sheeple are selling beachfront property by the droves, while common sense individuals like Bob are saying another couple of years and I'll be able to afford a mansion on the ocean. I like that. Thank you, Ken. Exactly right. All right, one last reminder. Hey, listen to this. No, we got another comment. Cheers to Frankly Speaking on the 3-year anniversary. Keep up that great work. Mayor John Buckley, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do appreciate it, and we appreciate you tuning in to the program like you always do. Very kind of you. All right, don't forget, again, just a reminder, tomorrow is the 3rd annual Wienerville Benefit Night. It's the hot dog and baked potato bar. It's at the Corning Moose Club. Tomorrow from 4 to 10 p.m. It's obviously dine-in only, no takeouts. You want to be there. You have so many different toppings to try, and everything's so delicious. There's going to be raffle baskets, 50/50s, great music by Wasting Time, and this is a benefit for the Salvation Army of Corning, near and dear to our hearts, and Ronald McDonald House of Rochester, just $18. Let me tell you, come hungry. Absolutely. So I hope to see everybody there. Come over and say hi and share a hot dog with us. It's right, as I said, at the old Pizza Hut by the movie theater in Painted Post. Thank you again for all the wonderful comments. When we return, Horseheads Mayor Kevin Adams. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox, celebrating 3 years.
Dr. Seuss's The Cat in the Hat, live on stage. The world's #1 Cat in the Hat show is coming to North America. Young and old alike will delight in this brand new adaptation of the Dr. Seuss classic as it comes to life before your very eyes. The Cat in the Hat.
March 25th at the Clemens Center in downtown Elmira. Tickets at clemenscenter.org.
You can just keep watching and scrolling, and the world will still feel like it's falling apart.
Widespread misalignment. Highest hospitalization. Also evacuation of the Western forced labor.
Or you can take action by joining a movement that's creating a real and lasting change instead. Partnering with communities around the globe to help uproot poverty and plant seeds of hope for a brighter tomorrow. Because at World Vision, we believe that no situation is hopeless. Join a movement that's changing the world for good.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Hagan. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. And in that studio this morning, we have Kevin Adams, the mayor of the Village of Horseheads. How are you this morning?
Not bad, Frank. How are you?
It's great to see you. I don't think you've been on the program before, and here you are, first time on the 3-year anniversary special.
You know,
what's the chances?
They always do that, right?
Yeah.
You have to save that special guest for the anniversary show, and
you made it.
And I'm going to try not to let you down.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
I'm sure you won't. Well, until I say we're talking about NICOM, and then everybody's going to go, okay, we're out of here. Yeah. No. We actually talked with Mayor Buckley about NICOM recently. So, because I do think it's important for people to realize, and we'll start by saying NICOM is New York Conference of Mayors, and we'll talk about their agenda and what you learned. But explain to people, kind of self-explanatory, but what is NICOM?
It's New York State Conference of Mayors. It's basically the association for New York villages and cities.
Okay.
Vital. The brain trust, the 4 lawyers they have, the political engine that is in Albany.
Sure.
As I say to anybody, what expectation can you have of a small municipality to be able to lobby for things that we need? NICOM does that.
Oh, that's great.
No village, especially our size, 6,300 people, are going to have lawyers that know about purchasing and all the drudgery of government.
Oh, absolutely.
They do.
The bureaucracy, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're there, they're keeping their finger on the pulse, and it's vital.
Yeah.
And I can't speak enough of them.
Yeah. And what do you, so each year, do you just meet once a year? Is that how it works?
3 times.
Oh, 3 times a year?
In February will be a legislative meeting where we'll firm up the legislative agenda, which with going into their budget. May is the annual meeting, the conference.
Okay.
And then they put on in fall a training camp, which is awesome. So in most villages, that election is March.
Yeah.
And so they give them about 5 or 6 months, and then they do a full training camp for all newly elected officials, because there again, what expectation can somebody have to do training for all elected officials? They do it.
Well, and think about that, because people don't realize if they've never been in the position. Anybody can run for council, for mayor. So you go in day one, it's not like you have some born-in knowledge of what you do as a mayor, right?
No.
I mean, there's a lot to learn. There's a learning curve on any position in government. Yeah. So to have this behind you, this force behind you, has got to be so beneficial and so helpful. What does the 2026 legislative agenda look like?
It's looking very promising. A couple things that I definitely asked to come on and go into detail about. But more than just that, AIM funding is our unrestricted funding we get from the state that has been flatlined for years.
Yeah.
Last year we got a temporary increase. It looks like they're going to even increase it more this year. It's big things like that.
What does that go to? Like when you say it's just unrestricted, so you can use it for what
they
you
send
need.
you a check.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I mean it's based on, there's many formulas. There's like 4 or 5 tiers of formula that they're looking at redoing, but it's every little bit helps, and that was critical in a funding stream for us. But they're going into other things. Big thing here is the swaps. We at the Village of Horseheads, much like every other municipality, it has a water system.
Of course.
And the see no evil, hear no evil. The pipes are below. We don't see them.
Right.
And
you don't want to see them.
We don't want to see them.
Right.
And when I took over as mayor, we had a leakage rate of 42%. 162 million gallons of water we just leak.
Wow.
Now, leaking can be 2 things. It can be unaccounted for water. So it's somebody getting water or some organization getting water that we don't have a meter on. Or more than likely, it's just water going out of the pipe.
Sure.
But every administration, and this is true for every administration and every municipality, is like, I don't want to deal with it.
Exactly.
So we have the WIA program that before we got $5 million for, but that has a 40% reimbursement rate. So we get the $5 million. We then have to send $2 million of that back to New York State, and then so how do we get the $2 million? We bond it out for 30 years with $1.5 million of interest, Frank. So there again, $5 million, and why it's a kind of an embarrassment of riches on that is that the village was at least set up to have the grant writer and to have a village manager. There's a lot of steps to get that. We have money.
Absolutely.
Swaps is just basically like chips. You have sewer, you have water pipe, here's your money.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to be somebody with writing grants and, and trying to do all this. And hopefully, I can't speak to any other water system, but this is the very necessary money we need to start actually turning our water system around.
And that's why it's kind of interesting, because we just talked about this with Executive Moss. No, like you said, no one wants to deal with it. No one wants to go head on, because it's not, you're not going to make headlines because your water system just got improved, right? I mean, it's just a matter of fact. But it's so necessary, and people don't realize it until they don't have water, until they don't have sewer.
Right. And just last week, Frank, we had 2 leaks. One in Hanover Square, a 10-inch main. Oh, wow. And we had a 6-inch just further down, probably about a half a mile down from that. Wow. And there again, we have the best 4 people on the planet, in my opinion. They're down in a hole. They're turning off the water. They're getting, but what are we doing? We're putting a sleeve around it.
Exactly.
That's not a permanent fix.
No.
But that's the best we can do. And those sleeves are not not cheap either.
No.
So, yes, we need the funding to start looking at vital infrastructure that's below ground as much as above ground, and this swaps program hopefully will get it to
That's great. And also, I know during the agenda, this is something that I've had so many people on to talk about, and we don't know the answer, and I hope you do, which is, how do we get the word out? Because I'm, in full disclosure, I'm on the town board in Irwin, right?
Yep.
And our first goal, probably started last year, was to just get a flyer out, or just because people don't know what's going on at their town halls or city halls or village halls. So how does, when you look at NICOM, or how have you dealt with it directly to get that information out to your residents?
Newsletters. We do a very thick newsletter, not cheap. Spend about $20,000 a year, but it's 8 pages at least 3 times a year, and it's vital. And there's just stuff we can't put into sound bites.
Exactly.
There's stuff we can't put in Facebook posts. But I think to kind of relate this problem with water system, it draws me back to when the corrections officers went on strike.
Right.
And that's when, shame on me for starting to notice the unsafe work conditions. And when I started to see the videos, and then I said, wait, this is happening behind a brick wall, that's behind a fence, that's got razor wire on it.
That you don't want to see back there.
Right.
That's the whole,
You're taking this out of our society and putting it away.
Yeah.
We need the reverse of that.
Yeah.
We need to, the only way I truly had appreciation for our corrections, I knew that they were vital.
Of course.
But I didn't know what they were doing on a daily basis.
Exactly.
I saw it.
Yeah.
And that's when there's a leak, I'm there, I'm recording the water gushing out.
Right.
It starts with a visual, and it just starts, how can anything happen without awareness?
Yeah. Exactly.
And we need to bring awareness to
and
it.
Transparency too. I mean, a lot of it's awareness, so that people know what's going on. Something as simple as, a brush cleanup, or the things that they don't know the answer to. And some of our residents, there are a lot of residents that aren't computer savvy. So just going to Facebook all the time, it's nice. I'm not saying don't do it, but that's why the newsletters and they're so vital. And people say, "Oh, just throw them out." I bet you there's a lot of people that sit down and read them. I know. I look at our newsletter. We have a smaller newsletter, but we do a quarterly, and stuff I'm learning, and I'm in behind the scenes, right?
and there again, there's not a medium that covers 100%.
No.
So
gotta do it all.
why is people our constituency that is on Facebook is getting that information quicker?
Yeah, sure.
But how are they any more valuable than the people who are not getting their information?
Exactly.
And they're not.
They're not, no.
And that's why we have that responsibility of going at different.
But you can tell it's important, because they're talking about it at NICOM, but I've talked to so many people about it. It's that tough sell. You just can't. You don't know how to get it out there, and everybody racks their brains. We all kind of come up with the same ideas, but we're doing the best we can, and that's, I guess, the best we can do.
Let me quote Senator O'Mara.
Yeah.
It's not sexy putting money in your reserve account.
Exactly.
It's not a new park. It's not a new road.
There's no ribbon cutting involved. Right.
But how else can you say that you're being a good steward of your taxpayers' money by saying, hey, we were able to return money to a savings account?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
And I've tried. Five Star Bank won't let me go in the vault and take pictures of the cash.
No, they won't.
So I can't bring visual awareness to that.
No, and that's funny. And some of the other things I know that you wanted to mention, and I think they're important to talk about, because you had mentioned corrections officers, and we've talked about public safety so often on this program. So tell us about this public safety consideration and bail determination.
So it's obviously, we unless we're doing a 5-part series, which I'm all in for, for bail reform,
yes.
we can talk about that. But to me, at the smallest level, the lowest, the most accessible level of government village, we have two amazing justices. One, Dave Brockway, who was a I can just say it. And you know, the guy who swore me in as mayor, who swore me in 20 years before that, is on the youth court.
Isn't that funny?
Come on,
that's cool.
Come on.
Yeah.
We've taken away all of the one thing that a judge should have is discretion.
Right? Isn't
discretion
that the name of their job?
What else is there?
What are you voting on a judge for if it's not discretion?
And that has been removed.
Yeah.
And that is where the public safety comes in. And NICOM is looking at that. Senator O'Mara is putting up the Protect Act that the village proudly did a supporting resolution for, where it's just common sense things, assessments on how dangerous is this person,
right,
and returning sensibility back to the judges.
Yes, to the judges and to the community. I mean, that's what this is all about. Those judges are a part of your community. They know what's best for the community.
Yes, and as I've told everybody, the good news about judges are they're not politicians.
Exactly.
They're the furthest away.
I know.
And so be okay with that.
Yeah.
Be okay that it's not a politician deciding who's good and who's not.
Exactly.
But let them decide, Frank. And NICOM has been great in championing that cause, and we're trying to do everything possible on that.
Well, and that's why I'm glad you come on, because obviously you're the mayor of the village of Horseheads, but this really affects our communities, Chemung County, Steuben County, everybody in our visiting range. Yeah, that's what's amazing.
Yes, and you know, you can see it just go from Horseheads to Elmira Heights.
Yeah.
It's just as far as our frequent flyers. It's a small percentage of people, but they take a lot of the public services from everyone who's contributing in them with the taxes.
Of course. Well, that's why I'm glad you could join us for NICOM. Let's change up a topic a little bit, because everybody's saying, I really like your tie. That's what everybody's saying. I can tell already. Yes. So tell us about the tie. Why did you decide to be all in the St. Patrick's Day mode?
Well, you know, green is always been my favorite color.
Okay.
And you know, Thursdays are green day. No, that's a lie. See, I've always said, Frank, don't trust my words, trust my actions.
Okay, good.
But no, it's the St. Patrick's Day.
Of
parade.
course, everybody knows Horseheads and St. Patrick's Day. Are you guys ready for it?
Yes. Yes, they are ready for it. And why I say they is this group of people. We, as the village, you know, will have the road crews and recreation to close it, but the planning, that is 50 weeks to do this, is all done by a group of volunteers, and couldn't be more excited. And I talk about the fragility of it, right? If they stop doing it, we can't take it over.
I know.
So we owe this group, and I owe them to promote it as much as possible. And yes, 2 p.m. Main Street of the village of Horseheads. We're going to be there. They got 3 bagpipe groups this year.
Okay.
From Gates and from all around. So, it is going to be a St. Patrick's Day thing. And just because I knew it was your third, this is the anniversary, I came bearing gifts.
Okay, all right.
And I'm going to, here you go.
Good.
Here, and
add it to my collection.
Well, we got to give you one of each.
Okay.
Because, you know, St. Patrick's Day can't just be distilled down into one St. Patrick's Day rubber ducky. So I bring the St. Patrick's Day to you.
That's funny. I will add it to my. I wish I knew. I would have it handy. I'll add it to my Sheriff Schramm.
Oh,
we got them all now.
Okay, that's it. Well, I mean, my 3 ducks are more colorful than his.
I can't. If he's watching, I can't make.
Okay, that's fine.
I want to use my discretion. I'm not running for judge.
No, that's true. That's true.
But everything's good in Horseheads?
No, things are going great. Just NICOM championed some real sensible things, and just
it seems
one of the other things, Frank, I wanted to push is the retiree cap.
Okay.
So right now, you retire from New York State, you're eligible for your pension.
Yeah.
New York State says only $35,000. Every dollar you make past $35,000, while you're receiving your pension from a municipal system, we take $1 back.
Okay.
So we have, as everyone, this is something that goes private and public. We have the huge gap in our workforce.
Yeah.
And we have these people that have this amazing decades of experience who want to work, and we have to max them out at $35,000. NICOM, myself, all the associations in New York State really want to just ask for a small little move of $15,000. We want to get that cap to 50, so that people that can work those 3 days a week or something like that should just bridge it. We're not taking away a job. We would gladly hire somebody and bring them in, but they're not there.
They're not there.
So one of the things that they're championing is moving that cap from 35,000 to 50, which is going to be vital in us retaining retirees who are retiring at a record amount, and we still need to fix water pipes.
I know, exactly. Well, that's great. I'm glad that you could tell us so much about NICOM this morning. Thank you again for the gifts. I got to show them. We're ready for St. Patrick's again, 2 o'clock on Saturday. Kevin, thanks for giving us so much time this morning. Let's do this again soon.
I appreciate it, Frank.
Thanks for being on the 3-year anniversary.
Woo! 3 years, Frank.
All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Ferrari Auto Team! Google reviews rank Ferrario Jeep the highest customer experience Jeep dealer in our area. Returning Stellantis lessee, lease a new Grand Cherokee Laredo X, just $329 per month. $19.99 due at signing, only $329 a month, and it's yours. Check out all your Jeep favorites during our declaration of deals.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Visit Ferrario Jeep in Elmira now during our Declaration of Deals event.
Sophia A., grade 4, absent, because transportation was absent.
Julio M., grade 6, absent, because Wi-Fi was absent.
Maria J., grade 12, absent, because childcare for siblings was absent.
Jacob O., grade 12, absent, because housing was absent.
Aisha S.,
Olivia H.,
Darren L.,
Cole W.,
Preston L., absent.
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 Because healthcare, anti-bullying,
Mental health support was absent.
We're calling roll on the 15 million absent students.
Their reasons why are very real.
And yet the solution is a present, caring adult to help them along their path.
When communities and schools is present, 99% of our students are present and ready to learn.
Hello. What starts as snow chances gradually transitions to rain chances heading into the afternoon with a high of 44, right on track with average. Tonight, snow is back in the mix with temperatures below freezing. Even so, minimal accumulations expected, mid-20s to near 30. We'll see low 40s on Saturday. Additional opportunities for some rain and snow Sunday and into Monday. 65 then, followed by some much colder conditions into Tuesday.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam. Brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, celebrating 3 years on the air with Frankly Speaking. We want to thank Horseheads Mayor Kevin Adams for being a part of the program this morning. We got some comments from viewers. Did I hear Kevin right that it costs $20,000 for an 8-page letter 3 times a year? What in the world costs so much? Let Kevin know that he can use my home printer at no cost. Be careful. Do you know the cost of toner? I think, and this is kind of piggybacking off of a comment from a different viewer, can you ask the mayor how they distribute the newsletter. Is it mailed to all the houses? I'm assuming that's probably where the cost comes from, the $20,000. I would have asked. That was recorded yesterday just for scheduling reasons. So I don't know the exact answer to that. I apologize. But I believe that cost would be because it's mailed. I know we've talked about it and I think looked into it in various times, and it is very expensive. All right, comment from a different viewer. Just wondering, you have 30 waves so far. Is that a record? No, I think the record was actually set the day after the election, because we had, I want to say we got to 47, and we said there was kind of an irony in getting to 47 because of being the 47th president. But I think someone ended up sending in the 8th just to kind of have fun with us. So I think 48 is the record. I've got to do a better job of records keeping on that. All right, we do actually have to take a short break because we are running a little bit behind with that great conversation with Kevin Adams, and we do appreciate him being on the program. But I do have one thing I have to mention. So I had talked to you earlier. We are celebrating 3 years, so let me do the quick confetti. All right, there is the balloons I showed you this morning, the beautiful bouquet. Now I've got to show you the amazing-looking cake that we'll be eating right after the show. So there you go. We're doing good. We're sitting pretty high on the hog here on Frankly Speaking. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Get your last-minute comments in because we're nearly running out of time during today's edition of Frankly Speaking. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Tom Witzel, owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. At Hesselson's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselson's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is a start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselson's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and Horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
This year, WYDC is bringing you 25 New York Mets games free over the air this spring and summer. No fees and no subscription services. Tune into WJKP 48.2 to watch the New York Mets this MLB season. Let's go Mets!
World Youth Clubs provides professional and technical assistance to all our affiliate clubs all around the world.
We already have 44 countries that are behind us providing safe spaces for kids, but there are 160 other countries we'd like to reach out to.
Yeah.
Right, Brad? Exactly. We need you to help fund the World Youth Clubs and make their dream come true.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio here on Market Street in Corning. Just receiving a piece as we get ready to talk about New York State issues. The state of New York is mandating, as you know, the zero-emission school bus fleets by 2035. So out of Naples, New York, they started looking into the cost of this. All bus purchases are required to be electric starting next year, okay? Well, they did extensive research, and when you start to look at the numbers, it is staggering. And I just received this from the Assemblyman. But some of the numbers that stick: diesel bus, 0.36 cents a mile. An electric school bus, $3.18 per mile. It is staggering. Wow, I know we talk about it a lot, but I just wanted to pass that along to you. Speaking of the Assemblyman, Phil Palmisano reacted to the One House budget, saying Assembly Democrats passed their proposed One House budget resolution, which is nothing more than the usual progressive playbook of more uncontrolled and unsustainable taxes and spending, along with a treasure trove of progressive wish list items. Their proposal totals $272 billion, which is $9.2 billion more than the governor's already proposed bloated budget. Included in the proposal is $3.7 billion and tax increases, including higher taxes on businesses and financial firms. At a time when New Yorkers are fleeing the state in droves, fewer taxes are needed, not more. These policies also risk damaging New York's financial markets and the broader financial services sector that anchors so much of our economy and tax base. Increasing taxes on the very industry that drives investment, capital formation, and thousands of high-paying jobs will only make it easier for firms to expand or relocate to states like Texas and Florida that are actively competing for those jobs. Additionally, this budget would keep the costly green new energy mandates in place, even though a recently released NYSERDA memo already warned that the CLCPA will increase household utility bills to more than $4,000 per year, increase gas and diesel prices by $2.23 a gallon and $2.41 a gallon, respectively, while increasing utility costs for small and medium-sized businesses by up to 46% and delivery truck operations by 60%. At a time when families are already struggling with rising costs for energy, housing, and groceries, Albany should be focused on lowering costs, not making them worse. So thank you to Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. I know I already got to take another break. So, okay, before we take a break, we're going to hear from Joe Sempolinski, but I want to hear from you. Let's spend this last segment getting our last-minute comments in. So Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski, both Phil and Joe, fan favorites here on Frankly Speaking, he weighed in on the over-the-top one-house budget, saying this isn't fiscally responsible budget. The majority has delivered another bloated, over-the-top budget that will drive more businesses and people out of New York. In the coming weeks, I'm going to work with Assembly Minority Leader Ed Rah and my colleagues in the Minority Caucus to propose cuts and provide real relief to New York's struggling taxpayers. New York has no future as the tax and spending capital of the country. We can't tax our way out of the affordability crisis. The only way to make New York a more attractive place to live and work is to cut taxes and cut spending. More taxes and bigger government aren't the answer. Now, the one-house budget is the Assembly Democrats' wish list and the response to the executive budget that was proposed by Governor Hochul in January. The final state budget is technically due April the 1st, and there's something ironic about that. Let's take a short break. We will be right back with Frankly Speaking, wrapping up our 3-year anniversary after this.
It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer. Create with the 3D printer. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to your local library today.
Dr. Seuss's The Cat in the Hat, live on stage. The world's #1 Cat in the Hat show is coming to North America. Young and old alike will delight in this brand new adaptation of the Dr. Seuss classic as it comes to life before your very eyes. The Cat in the Hat.
March 25th at the Clemens Center in downtown Elmira. Tickets at clemenscenter.org.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hello. What starts as snow chances gradually transitions to rain chances heading into the afternoon with a high of 44, right on track with average. Tonight, snow is back in the mix with temperatures below freezing. Even so, minimal accumulations expected, mid-20s to near 30. We'll see low 40s on Saturday. Additional opportunities for some rain and snow Sunday and into Monday. 65 then, followed by some much colder conditions into Tuesday.
Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. All right, another point in that piece, it was out of Naples News 10 that did the research, but the challenge is, they said right now, the differential in cost between an EV bus and a diesel bus is $300,000. And when you start to think about even Naples, we're a relatively small district who replaces 2 buses a year, typically that's $600,000 in additional monies that the taxpayers would have to come up with. Now, viewers responded saying, just think, Frank, that also doesn't include maintenance on the buses and how much it would cost to replace the batteries. And plus, there's buses that can't even complete a full run because of the distance that would be needed to travel. Doesn't matter what common sense it is, who's making money off of it. Comment from a different viewer. If New York State thinks they won't lose residents like me, it better think again. I've said it before. If we don't get a Republican governor in the midterms, I will call the bank and let them know that the house is theirs. Then I will move on to greener pastures. Thank you very much. And finally, when they go off the approximate cost of the school buses, they should also include how much the cost is just to put an ample electric station that are needed. That's a very good point. Wow, my goodness. And speaking of that, did you see, instead of trying to pull back on the climate law from Albany and make some changes, because even Governor Hochul admitted it's going to be too costly for the residents of New York. Instead, their plan in the Assembly is to propose a $500 check to cover your higher energy bills. Now, I've heard from some people in this audience, one $500 check may not even pay, unfortunately, for your gas and or electric for 1 month. So rather than, and you can tell the media reporting on this is biased, rather than weakening climate law, no, it's time to take a look at what is being done. The Protect Our Wallets Energy Rebate or Power Program would provide $500 checks to households with annual incomes under $150,000. So that is, instead of addressing the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act of 2019, they want to kick the can down the road, never mind the costs and we've already heard about that. They want to ease your worried mind by sending you a $500 check. There you go. Well, that does it. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Had such nice things to say this morning about the 3-year anniversary of Frankly Speaking. Whether it's from just the amazing comments, whether it's from the balloons to the cake and all those fun comments and waves. I do appreciate it. We'll read a couple last comments before we go. The Democrats continue to talk affordability, but continue to raise taxes. How do they expect retirees and minimum wage folks to stay in New York? Very fair question. Comment from a different person. Morning, Frank. I can't believe these dysfunctional government trolls want a raise. Oh, I didn't see that. In New York State? Yes, I did see that. I know New York City was looking for a raise, too. Well, that does it again. I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show for 3 years. I can't thank our sponsors enough. We had a nice thank you to Hesselson's earlier. We always thank them, and we thank everybody viewing and watching. It's been very nice to have you with us for 3 years and have you with us today. So I ask that you'll continue to join us every weekday morning starting at 6 for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV Big Fox. We will see you bright and early on Monday, starting towards year number 4. We'll see you on Monday. I look forward to it already. Have a great weekend, everyone.
And then the man didn't hire William Mattar and settled for a low-ball offer. Ooh. Ooh.
Bill, that's really not that scary.
Really? It gives me the chills. I mean, at William Mattar, we only handle motor vehicle accident cases, and they should have called us.
Dealing with big insurance doesn't have to be scary. Rideshare truck, motorcycle, car, only call William Mattar.
Dear Savvy, who says you can't have it all? You've got the tech. You've got the drive. And now you've got Toyota value. Toyota has 4 Corolla models with an MSRP under $26,000. You ready? Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.